So first of all, thank you so much for joining our webinar. This is our series where we conduct a lot of interesting scenarios, cases around what's innovation, what's new, trending in the market. And today there's a very interesting topic that we've picked up. It's about from pilot to P&L around agentic marketing, especially for financial services. Now this was a very interesting topic and we had some very interesting line of guests today. So today I am joined by Sneha Batreja and Aviral Chandra. So let me introduce Sneha first of all. She leads growth and performance marketing at PayU. She brings in 15 years of experience. Prior to PayU, she has worked with the likes of IFL, Aditya Birla, and most of her career she has spent time in helping brands to do best of growth, performance, and customer engagement. And PayU itself is such a global fintech powerhouse, handling 500k plus businesses, 800 million in revenue annually is what they get. The next speaker, Aviral, lot more experience. In fact, 23 years of experience, and he heads president. He is president at and sales and marketing for Shriram General Insurance. Uh, and Shriram General Insurance, which sits on quite a big base of 7 million customers and it's become a big conglomerate. Aviral comes with a very good general insurance experience. Prior to this, he has worked with SBI and the likes of Tata EIG, and he is a IIM alumni. So there will be a lot of interesting insights from him. So welcome both of you on this interesting conversation today around how we can really take agentic marketing to the next cusp of great lead. All right, so we'll start off. We'll talk about the problem at hand today, which is about how the customers today has got an attention problem, which is where the time by which the brands take an action on trying to recover them, trying to bring them back to the funnel, is by the time it has been already lost. And there are some interesting stats that you see on the screen, which is talking about how 70% of the journey is done before they even talk to you. 20 to 30 plus touch points shape their decisions, and we as a brand we get to know only maybe 5 to 6 some of those touch points, right? There are 8 plus channels that the customer might end up using before they take a buying journey. So customer today, they have less patience, they have got lot more options. So we as brand, we need to be lot more sharper, lot more crisper, and the movement has to be always right. So it has to be super personalized, crisper, and the timing has to be always right. So what does it mean when we say this? We have done everything around the channel-based marketing, and I think brands have scaled, and there has been some interesting case studies that you would have heard over the course of time around what interesting WhatsApps can be sent out, and email marketing, what it does, and SMS and so on. But it has literally outgrew the current customer behavior, and the real cost is where we are spending a lot on the media side, but the true value is still not being realized considering uh, the current scenarios that we face with our customer engagement. So what we want, and that's where we want to talk about something called as 10x market here. This is where we need lot more micro segments, we need lot more creative variants, channel orchestration which understands signals across different behavioral tracking points that we have. There are multiple partners we have, but there is no centralized data which can kind of understand these signals at one place. So those are some of the problems that has to be solved. But the real challenge that we intend to solve today is there is lot more segmentation, lot more personalization that needs to be done. And I will today in our slides will talk about what those personalization elements are going to be, that is going to change the game for marketing. And that's where we have to have agentic marketing. We need to have agents do the big part of the uplift, and it can only do good what it is exposed to. So an agent is as good as what's it's allowed to see. So while we all keep talking about we need to have agents, we need to have more agentic involvement in our day-to-day marketing activity, but the real question still lies how we can make sure that our agent is smart. And that's where I want you all to make a note of this very important piece, which is called as the context layer. So especially in the BFSI space, the context is also with a lot of depth because we capture a lot of the data at various touch points of a user. take an example in the case of insurance where a user who comes in as a lead and later on he becomes a customer, he might lapses in maybe doing their EMIs, and then they are also using your credit card. So there is like a lot of different level of touch points, but the data not being so centralized, there has not been so much of context which are told to the agent, which leads to the messaging being too generic. So given an example, for example, a simple relationships, right? I am a customer of HDFC Bank today, and I have insurance with them. I have a savings account, and I also use the credit card, right? But if I end up lapsing my EMI on home loan, they will still end up sending me credit card related updates and upsells, right? Which is maybe not right, because the credit card department and maybe the savings account department are not talking to each other. Then there are of course these rules which decides what has to be sent, what not has to be sent, and overall the memory has to be stored at one place, which understands certain nuances which can't be understood from the data itself. Like for example, any offline behavior that could be told. So the example, like I said, it's not an account, it's a family altogether. So same example, the personal savings account, I have a joint account with my spouse, and if I, let's say, miss an EMI, I'm still being shown the premium card, which I should upheld till the time maybe it's important to understand the real nuance problem that the customer would have, why they have missed out the EMI and the relevant messaging instead of doing the premium card upsell, right? So that's what the systems don't see and the engine would see after giving the ideal context. So one very interesting example, and what I would like to also highlight, that it's not that at some level these problems are not being solved, right? There are thousands of campaigns aimed at 128 different segments across that we do day in, day out. But the problem still lies there, that there is always this 129th segment that we could have created. One such example is a user for an insurance brand who has gone to the insurance website and looking for a car insurance, visited the page 3 times in the last 24 hours, finally generates a quotation for his car insurance, and then he opened the claims policy page later and then drops off, right? In an ideal case scenario, you will still end up sending the reminder or asking the user to complete the whole steps to complete and buy the insurance. But will that email or message on WhatsApp will contain information about how claims can be better with the brand, because the user has also looked at the claims policy page? The answer is no, right? So there could be many such micro segments that can be created within the same use case for a drop off from one stage to the other stage, and that's the 129 segment that I'm talking about. And it's no rocket science. There are many such segments that you would have thought of, but at scale at which you want to do this becomes really, really difficult, right? So I would like to give you a short demo before we move further, so that you understand how this is generally being done at scale. All right, so from our dashboard, one can also look at, and there are these different agents that comes into play. We have got insight agent, we've got content agent, we've got segment agent, which can help you create such different insights and actions at scale. But to start with, let's take a very simple case scenario. Let's say I would like to look at a seasonal trend, and the question is, show me a seasonal engagement trend across channels for the last 12 months, right? And this is a very, very regular ask that people would have, and with that the insight agent will give them a quick answer that what is working, what's not working. For example, in this case scenario, it clearly tells that email as a channel has been working the best, but there has been certain challenges with WhatsApp, with the amount of how much published and delivered, it has been less. Then it gives you a suggestion that what we should do next. It says that pull these recently engaged high intent user into their own segment and target them with a very focused journey and see what works. So at a click of a button, you can go about creating a segment, and once that segment gets created, it gives you a quick advice of what was the count of those users and what all channels they are reachable or. And once you understand the reachability of this, now you can go about creating the journey for this segment. And now from an insight being taken from a specific challenge to a segment being created to a journey being created is the real power of how you can expand at scale with some of these challenges being put up, which could be different scenarios of drop-offs, or which could be different scenarios of the channel engagement that we have today. There is much more advanced version to it, which we call as decisioning agent, which I will cover in my coming slides a little later. But for now, we have a short poll which will come on the screen for all of you to answer. Right. So the question is today, how does your team decides what a customer gets next? A calendar, a rule, a score, an agent? Right. So I think it's a very interesting question. We should all answer and decide on what, according to them, is a ideal way of how you do it. So we'll have the poll for the next 10 seconds and then we'll stop. All right. Okay. So we'll move on. Now we have Sneha from PayU talk about her own experience in regards to how she has been able to bring out the whole theory that we spoke about to production using Netcore's platform. And Sneha, if you're there, maybe we can just say a quick hi and then you can take over and talk about your experience here.
Hi Mayank, and hi everyone. Good afternoon.
Yes.
I would strongly recommend getting a cup of coffee and sitting so that this can get more engaging, this webinar.
Yes.
Thank you for the lovely introduction at the beginning, Mayank. Right.
All right, Sneha. I'll move the slides for you. You can continue. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So it's not about every merchant needs a next move. Every marketer actually needs a next move, right? So as a marketer, all of us are swamped with challenges every day, and with AI coming into picture in the recent times, right? Every morning there is something or the other, either your competition has done it or something is happening in the industry, and everybody wants an answer to saying that, how can we do this at the earliest, and what is it that will take us to come to the first level, right? So everybody is hunting for the question, not for the question, but everybody is hunting for that first spot on that answer place. Right? Like, that's how we used to do in SEO. Now, for us internally, what we wanted to look at is throughout our onboarding journey for the merchants, right? We wanted to ensure that every merchant is being catered to in a personalized and a customized manner. And we speak to the merchant in a way that enables and encourages the merchant to move to the next step in the funnel, right? This can only be done at scale when you have a platform which enables you to do this via medium of channels and not rely on only one channel. And it's also not about the expanse of the channels, but it's also about how are you going to speak to the merchant, right? So if everyone gets the same message, if it's going at the same time, it doesn't work for a lot of folks, right? Like Mayank's example, if you have actually defaulted on an EMI and the bank is still pitching you a premium card, there's a major problem out there, right? So data needs to travel in real time, and it needs to be as personalized and customized for the merchant possible, right? With this, what we did is we sent 2 million messages. We have 4 channels across which we did that, and we have multiple products. But the first product is we want to pitch the merchant to take our payment gateway. Yeah, man. Next. Right. So we have a lot of questions when we run campaigns. Me and my team, we sit and rack our brains thinking that why didn't this campaign work? Why did that campaign not work? And gone were those times when you have such longish discussions. Nowadays, it's only a check-in with my team because they've been working with the insight agents that Netcore platform gives us, right? And the beauty of this agent is that you can sit and check for every campaign. There are some predefined questions. You can also ask questions in your own format and shape and the lens that you want to look at it. And the insight agents will not only tell you that if there are any anomalies, it will also direct you to say that, okay, this seems to be the roadblocker and this is how you need to move forward, right? Once you given the channel has been unwrapped for you and even the solution is right there for you, you can go ahead. So one such example is what you can see on the screen. Our lead to KYC journeys were seeing the huge drop, right? And we really wanted to go forward on that piece because that's the turning point for us. It's a make or break for us, right? So then we diagnosed with the help of inside agents, and we confirmed that the reachability was not an issue. There was no technical failure as well, but it was about the content. So what we did is that we try to send, use another medium, which was RCS, which is an equivalent medium just like WhatsApp, but a cheaper version of WhatsApp, right? The delivery on the same gave us, an uptick from what the WhatsApp channel gave us. So yeah, man, can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So what happens is when the merchant is going through the onboarding journey, right, you need to be able to nudge him at every given point of time and tell him that what's happening, what's not happening, where is he stuck, what do we require from him. All the information goes into that communication channel. Now, all your communication cannot be in one shape for across all channels. You need to modify as per that channel, right? So what we did is on WhatsApp, we know that it's the most personal thing because your phone is always with you, and if you send a notification on WhatsApp, the propensity and the probability of a person opening that and taking an action is way higher. So we did that in terms of getting the merchant activated in the first step, right? Once the merchant was then onboarded, then we wanted him to transact with us. So then we tried to increase and send journeys where we said that, hey, you signed up, you got onboarded, you've done the heavy lifting, and we just want you to transact, which is the most easiest part of it, right? And you will get the dashboard, everything. So we depended on sending out incremental campaigns on revival journeys to get these numbers uptick. And then we have, once the merchant is well settled in that cohort, we build a cross sell cohort for him, and then we send him messages accordingly. All this is happening with the help of the agents that we have. We have an inside agent, we have an audience agent, which helps us create that cohort for us. We can also schedule it basis. So if Mayank and Aviral and Anju are my merchants, right, they have their own affinity for a particular channel. They have their own specific time of the day where they're the most active, and I want to be able to reach out to all of them at that given point of time. So that's how we take help of all these agents, and it's become so much faster and quicker for us to, and we can actually see the results as well, right? So the scale has been derived on. Yeah, Maya. The agents don't actually stop there, right? So it's not that you want to do a one-time campaign and send it across and get that first level of transaction and the first level of your needle moving. Okay, it's a continuous process. You feed the like he in previous slide that Mayank showed, right? The agent needs to be able to see what it should, and then that is how the agent will be able to help you give you a correct response on that, right? So in this case, the data was getting enriched with how the merchants, if they missed any information that they could fill in. So we used to send this back to Netcore, and then the agent would help us say that, okay, these set of merchants are actually working on, are getting stuck on these fields, and this is what we need from them. So then we try to do an interactive format in it itself, saying that if you would need help, do you want us, our customer care, to reach out to you? And then the merchants would respond to that, and we would have them take on that. The next thing was that we saw that, okay, all our efforts in terms of sending out campaigns and everything results into the merchant coming on board and doing a couple of transactions, but then the transactions see a flat or a fall immediately, right? So with the help of these agents, what we do is we understand that, is there a pattern to this? Does it happen in a time specific bound manner, or is it because of a behavioral pattern that we can find in the merchant? And that's how we also started sending some revival campaigns just before the merchant would go inactive with us, right? And everybody over here who have joined, right, you would surely understand that there is so much of pressure that once a merchant is in, or once your customer is in, there is so much of pressure or this thing to send more products, to sell more products to the merchant. So in that sense, you have to do an upsell, you have to do a cross sell, but it all makes sense if you can do it once you have matched your cohort to the product and everything is in sync. So using all of these agents, right, there are some numbers that you can see. I mean, these are the numbers that kind of helped us internally. This whole webinar is on pilot to PNL. It helped me show that not only did it improve my PNL, because that's what it affects at the bottom line, right? And that's what your CFO wants to hear always. So all of my majority of the agents were utilized to increase the merchant onboarding process and get more merchants inside the funnel, right? Approximately about 5,000 odd merchants were moving to first transaction within the 6 months, and all these are attributable to the campaigns that we are sending. So organically also there are merchants who would be driving the first transactions themselves, but this is basis the campaign, right? And all of this because so many agents, it's just like an extended arm for your team. You don't need to spend a lot of time doing a brainstorming. You ask the agent a question, you have the answers bang on, and it is supported with data as well. So it reduces all your operational and the kind of conversations that don't yield any outcomes. So right now you have an outcome right there for you. This is what it helped us with using the agents provided by Netcore.
Sneha, fantastic. I think audience, I think we should just reach out to Sneha to know how to convince your CFO for the budgets for Agentic. I think she has done it, and the team has done it quite well in terms of just not getting the agents out from a point where it is just helping me operationally. No, no, no. It is also about giving me the ideal outcome that is needed, and that's, I think, backing it up with that will really move the needle from being it like the real pilot to PNL. All right, so moving on. Thank you, Sneha. We'll come back to you once again. We have the second poll now for our audience. We would want you to now talk about where does your funnel lose the most value today, right? Is it the onboarding stage, activation, cross-sell, retention? Please don't say everything, right? Then it becomes difficult to understand. There could be one very primary challenge. Sneha, Aviral, according to you both, in the meantime, while people are responding, which according to you is the stage where you lose the most, according to you?
Aviral, I'll go first.
Yeah, please go.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's the first two, and it's like a chicken and egg, right?
Yeah.
So if a merchant gets stuck in the onboarding, how do you expect the activation to move more faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if people are getting stuck at activation, what is the point of getting so many merchants onboarded, right? So it's a chicken and egg situation. But these are the primary first two, which kind of hold the entire narrative for you. Either it goes north or it goes down south.
Awesome. Aviral?
So from my perspective, it is onboarding because what happens is the first moment of truth, with the brand you're dealing with, and if that is erratic or it's not seamless, then the customer lose interest. And generally, if you look at companies, they target, at least for insurance and financial service, I would say, 51 crores of the total population of India is Gen Z and millennials. And these people have very short time span and attention span what they have. So if the things are not proper, it's not seamless, the experience is not great enough, then I think you lose interest and the lead becomes totally cold. So I think the first one is super important.
Got it. No, totally useful, and I totally buy this as a point, especially from the experience from where you both come from. It becomes a lot more important to make sure that the first touch interaction will lead to a long-term retention, right? And that's where I think onboarding and activation both becomes a real challenge to solve. Alrighty, we'll move ahead. We'll come back to you with a lot more questions. Now, there are some more interesting examples that I would like to quote on different stages here. So first of all, the question is on the onboarding and the drop-off stage, right? Where generally a surface level insight will say, 40 to 50% of the user drop-off mid KYC, same re-engagement message. Like I said, to the same Ria, to the same Priya Gupta, to the same Ram Sharma, they will receive the same drop-off journey based on the stage at which they have dropped off. But it doesn't look at the certain context based on Ria was actually facing a document error or an image upload error. Priya was actually facing a problem which was no error or just getting lost or session getting ended. And Ram did multiple visits and read the FAQ and then left, right? The context for all three of them is different if we look at the deeper insights, and basis that the engagement to them are also going to be a little different, right? Without agent, you will just simply say, hey, you know what, your KYC is pending and please come back. But what we intend to do and transform with AI agents is basically we want to make sure that for Ria, the messaging has to be which talks about specifically the challenges that she faced during the stage is being highlighted and how she can fix it. right? For being a distracted Priya, there is a very different messaging which talks about, hey, you are just 2 steps away, please complete, right? It's not very far off, you are there. And for Ram, who had been looking at FAQs, I think it's important to bring in that confidence, right? And same doesn't just apply for the onboarding stage, but let's say the other stages as well. For example, at first transaction stage, where the surface level insight will say users has activated high up engagement but not transacting, same re-engagement message. And with my interaction with a lot of the BFSI leaders out there in the market, they will generally give me those surface level insights, but very few will have these cluster based behavioral patterns, which is the person is in a consideration mode or a timing mode, or their friend told them, so it was more of a social mode, right? And there could be different challenges if you look at their very behavioral patterns there. And that's again, even for that stage, you will have a very different messages being sent based on the mode they are on, based on consideration, timing, or social. And see, this is all made up, right? Being at a consideration, timing, or mode, completely dependent on your business, how those sub patterns that you are able to see. So it is a high time that we have to go deeper in our personalization and identify those patterns. Same applies for the cross sell and the retention stage as well, where the surface level insight will talk about users active 60 days with high engagement, but should we now is it the right time to do the cross sell and upsell? But if we again look at more deeper understanding about, let's say, 3 different personas, we will know that Amy as a user has 3 on-time EMI repayments, right? And Sunil Grover has got 500 rupees SIP running for 4 months, and Anil will have a different trend. And likewise, there are like 3 different messages again, thanks to AI agents, which is able to draft. And it contains, so whatever you see below, what are the points here, which says vernacular content, NLP segmentation, journey orchestration, best time, best channel, right? So all of these are also being considered along with guardrails, along with proper auditing in terms of what is the ideal channel, and taking governance into consideration to make sure not too much of communication is also sent to the user, right? Now with that, I would like to show you how can you do this at scale, right? Now coming back to the demo once again, and so yes, okay, so this was the insight agent which I showed you, but let me introduce you what we are also going to bring in is called as decisioning engine. Now decisioning engine is the one where an objective is given and the agent itself will take decision at a user level. It will not be taken at a segment level, but at a user level. You will have sub segments, of course, created, but it will look at certain behavioral pattern of the user and decide what message has to be sent and not sent as well. For example, if there is a person who is actually irritated with your experience, but you wanting to send out as a reminder that, hey, please complete this stage, you might as well not do it. You might as well have your call center engage with the same user, right? So that's where beforehand, what we also tend to do is, before we even configure a decisioning agent, we first of all say that there should be a brand wiki, which primarily means that we are able to understand some of the signals, some of the important parameters which are generally not told by the data, which is where we talk about what is your core identity, mission, value proposition, how does your customer behave. I think this is very important. What has been our marketing comms, what has been the brand tonality, right? So once we configure that, the next piece would be the event definition. More the data here, richer our agent gets. Next would be guardrails. So you decide on whether a communication requires a marketing consent or not, what should be the ideal frequency capping, the quiet hours, hold up group, and there would be many more such guardrails that we could also set up. But these are some of the basic ones that is to be done. Now, when it comes to launch, it all starts with certain objectives, and objectives for every brand is going to be different, no doubt. So objective, this is more of a simpler e-commerce scenario that I'm explaining here, which is high AOV dormant users, right? Everyone would have that there was a very high AOV customer that I had for the longest period of time, but has become dormant over the course of time, right? So this could be the approach to make sure that we are able to get the second purchase from this user. That's where you set up the goal, and which would be repeat purchase. You decide the horizon of how long the decisioning agent should keep continuing running the campaigns. then it look at the certain patterns within the high AOV dormant users, and will tell you who are the sub segments within them, like high intent buyers, price sensitive, loyal repeat customers. So maybe let's say you don't want to engage with loyal repeat customers, so maybe just 3 segments, and there could be many more. In fact, you could go about exclude segment as well and set up control groups. Now comes the other big task, which is how many such content you could generate, which is where again the content agent will kick in and will start generating a lot of these different content, right, which will be for different for SMS, email, and push notification. And at a click of a button, then you see what's the content here, and then you launch your objective. Likewise, you can have so many different objectives and so many such micro segments being created through this centralized decisioning agent. Now, in case of a BFSI, this could also be scenarios like, a very ideal scenario, which is persistency, or let's take the onboarding scenario. In fact, that has been the core challenge, right? From the point where user drops in as a lead and has not completed, there are these multiple other signals that we are able to understand, that user has been dormant, user has been not responding to calls, user has been looking at our claims policy page. Looking at those intent, now different such communications can be sent based on looking at some behavioral pattern, that what channel has been working, what content has been working, what tonality has been working, and that's where you can go about customizing the whole experience for the user, right? Now, once this is being realized, coming back to my slides once again, let's talk about why such pilots are not being able to convert into a full-fledged agentic marketing, right? And there has been certain traps that we have identified after speaking to so many customers and so many brands and leaders out there in the market. First being, of course, the tech first trap. It is the first instance that comes to your mind, that pilot was built to generate content or maybe do a part of process automation, but it is not intended to generate revenue. That mindset one has to change. Second is the ROI gap. So marketing celebrates if there's a reduction in overall marketing effort or the copywriting effort, but it is not seen that how much agency spend or how much of media spend they are able to reduce. If that happens, then that's the real game, right? And of course, compliance, right? It comes in the end, and for BFSI, that becomes one of the biggest factor. Like, how do you make sure that the data is also in some form isolated, and data is not getting exposed to that decision making agent, which can actually do this problem. So how do we displace this, right? Because this becomes a real problem, because generally a pilot will run for 60 days, and after that it doesn't really convert into a real full-fledged agentic. So first of all, the mindset change that has to happen, that this is not proof of concept, this has to be a proof of value. So that has to be that first change that we have to bring in. From a tech first focus, we need to get into 10-20-70 rule. So of course, there will be algos which will be involved here. There will be technology and data. But I think important to also align the people and the processes along with it. I think one very important thing that we have done at Netcore is that everyone has got a Gemini license by the company, and we ourselves have done a lot of automations on Claude by improving a lot of those sub processes which we have within our department. So that's a very big people mindset change that we have brought in. If people don't change, they change. So it's important that we have to bring in that people and process, and deliberate attempts by the brands have to be made. Compliance is important, no doubt. But we need to have some sort of a shadow mode decisioning, so that with some sort of a synthetic data or very limited customer exposure, if we can still try and see what kind of decisionings can be made. And a standard IT intake, while there could be certain very tiered level work that can be done to make sure, at least from an IT standpoint, we have the ideal classifications. And come to the sheet, right? I think this is what Sneha would have also done when she has taken this to the CFO, talking about how agentic marketing is useful. And that's where she would have showed ideal numbers like application started, stalled mid verification, and this is exactly what got recovered by the agent-led journeys. And this is the ideal blend where we are able to say that, hey, this same 5,400 users, if I would have reacquired through media channel, the cost would have been 10x higher than what we are putting in here. That's the gap that is to be told to our CFOs, to convince them how we can really change the game here, right? So with that, it's also important on the compliance, and I thought maybe I'll just talk one slide on this as well, which is about various level of security layers that could be set up, starting from PII tokenization. So definitely for a lot of these decisioning agent, and especially by us, we don't require any sort of PII information. There could be PII that could be tokenized, that could be masked, can be stored at your data, and we could still work on this. It could be based on an encryption key, and the logic of which could be stored at a brand level. There could be more enterprise level security layers, and you could always come and erase the data, right? So you own the data, you manage the data. For India and for Southeast Asia, we've got local data centers, so even the data doesn't go out. We being completely DPDP compliant and having different level of certification from ISO, SOC 2, etc., gives a good validation. And Netcore currently works with 500 plus BFSI brands, because of which we have the ideal trust with them. And anytime there is a person in our office doing audits about what's going on in our platform, in our security layers. So with that, let's go to poll 3. The question here we have: what would stop you from putting an agent live this quarter, right? And I think it's an important question to understand what is, are there certain frameworks that we need to get complied to? Is that the context layer that you're going to work on? Is it the data that unification is required? Is there a proper risk and compliance sign off? Is there a process change, right? So there are these 4 top questions that we have put up, and we would want our audience to answer, so that we can maybe show the poll results in the end and talk about this. So we'll have it for another 10 seconds, and then we'll switch to Q&A with my co-panelists, Aviral and Sneha. Alrighty. Okay. So a quick word, Aviral and Sneha, from your side, how much of risk and compliance as a challenge that you guys have mitigated to, get these agents live? There are certain processes you guys have set, which would be a great insight for our audience today.
So from our standpoint of view, Sneha, is it okay if I go first?
Yeah.
So when because from insurance industry, it's very important. Risk and compliance is super important. And the tick box, some people may call it a tick box activity. But when so we have a regulatory body called IRDA, and there's a quarterly reporting which happens across there. So everything needs to be sacrosanct in the box as per the risk and compliance. So whenever we are, making any marketing initiative, campaigns, or getting a new technology in place, we need to take, 2 consensus. One is from the risk and the compliance piece, which is first. Then only it goes for approval from a CFO or a CEO. Because without, the compliance and the risk approval, it doesn't move ahead across to us.
Got it. Sneha?
Yeah. Mayank, see, risk and compliance are very important, right? Everybody here, especially in the BFSI, right, we're regulated by a lot of regulatory bodies, right?
Yeah.
So to confine to that, in our specific case, it's not only the merchant data, but it is also the merchant serving the customers, right? Even that kind of data is available with us. Hence, the PII masking and the security-led infrastructure becomes very important. Or specifically, questions like we've asked your team questions like, where does your data reside? It cannot be in servers which is out of our reach, right? So there are such nuances that we need to cater to ensure that there is no data leakage. And in an event that actually happens, how are you going to help us mitigate that, right?
Yeah.
That is also something that while signing up with somebody or while sharing data with an Agentic AI platform, these are the kind of questions that our team throws at us, and we need to navigate that.
Nice. This is very useful as a point being told. Aviral, I have a question for you. Where do you decide whether AI should step in versus a human? How do you assess the sentiment when you would have set up some of these agents within your organization?
So ours, basically the business which revolves around trust, and we sell nothing but claims, which is a promise of service that we are going to be there for you at the time of claims. So the same piece of paper which is valid for a year No claim comes in, you tear it and throw in dustbin. But talk about when a claim comes in, the same piece of paper becomes very, very dear to you because it's now giving you XYZ crores. So if we look at, AI is supremely important because
Yeah.
it brings in efficiency, it brings in efficacy. The turnaround times are, cut down, and in terms of the productivity goes up. But on top of AI, definitely there's since the trust element is involved, AI can be very ruthless and merciless and can cut down a claim, and say, claim to Sneha or, Mayank will not be paid because in the OCR when we did the AI, there was fudging and, will not pay. But on top of AI, a human mind needs to sit across. A mechanism is there where the deviations can be taken care of and the corrections can be done. Because if we leave everything to AI, the brand of a company can get tarnished and the image can be, taken across. So AI works very well if you have a bot answering your questions in terms of your FAQs, in terms of policy servicing. But when it comes to customizations, when it comes to tailor making policy as per Mayank's and Sneha's requirement, because Sneha's requirement could be different than Mayank. So there, the conversation happens, the dialogue happens, and then the tailor making, the hand crafted policies are curated. So maybe Sneha is looking for a factory insurance, which is maybe 50 crores of premium. You were looking for your Audi or a BMW, which could be 5 lakh rupees. So depending on the TG, the entire piece varies. And again, when I look at all companies are targeting, Gen Zs across. And these people buy a policy at 12 o'clock in the midnight because at 11:59 the policy got expired. So there you have a quick technology where you go on the site and you have an app, you can take a policy. So those retail policies can be customized and can be thought through. But for a commercial line policy, it becomes difficult. So I'll have an example also for Gen Zs. The flight is taking off and they're taking a travel insurance. The flight is already crossed Indian borders, but then this is what Gen Zs are all about. So I think the FAQs, the renewals, the policy servicing, documentation can be led by AI, but decisioning you need to have a human intervention because AI is basically driven by data scientists. They only understand technology, but insurance is basically all about experience. I have burned my fingers in maybe XYZ locations, and I would not want to do a business there because it's a taboo or a crime doing business in a XYZ location. For example, in Surat, health insurance, companies don't sell health insurance because anybody logging in from Surat is going to take you for a ride. So it's banned. So depending, the experience is super important. So probably hand in terms of man piece should be there and sitting on top of the AI. That's what I feel.
And I'm sure that you would have created like a special war room for how to handle Gen Zs.
Yeah, because
May not be
it is
so
a
much.
it's a chief which everybody would want to go in for. And what happens, these customers are very, very emotional.
Yeah.
Sneha say Aviral doesn't pick my call, I take a walk. I don't care. If he has not picked up my call once, we'll not work with them. And
Yeah.
Gen Zs are like supremely aggressive. So at least when I look at it, Mayank and Sneha, I have Gen Zs in my team because I learn a lot from them. So, for example, I'll tell you, we took somebody from IIM Lucknow, and she had 290 apps in her mobile. And I said, what do you do with this? She said, I have an app for every damn thing. And it came handy 1.5 years back when my wife was away and my daughter was also away, and then maid didn't turn up. And I had no clue what was Snap. I used it 1 year back, and that's where it solved the problem. So idea is to solve a problem at that crucial hour, and that's where solutioning from AI plus human piece is supremely important.
So, Aviral, I have a follow-up question on this, and I think I understand the whole trust factor that you have highlighted. Especially and insurance, I think as a sector, they have this one specific problem, and you rightly said, right? I buy the insurance and after that I don't need to interact. I recently renewed my car insurance through Policy Bazaar, and that was last I interacted was a year back. In fact, I had the app on the phone, but it got auto uninstalled because I wasn't I didn't interact much, and I would have not liked Policy Bazaar also, pushing me so much for an engagement with them. How do you leverage AI, especially to make sure that you have consistent engagement, and also later on post a year, whenever there's a renewal happening and there's an opportunity to also maybe do a cross sell or an upsell, how do you leverage AI in those aspects to make sure that there is a consistent engagement, and cross sell and upsell is also possible?
So what, at least in our business, AI is a tool, right? And we utilize it, to enhance the customer experience. So we use AI from pre-sales to post-sales as well, because it helps us in reducing, increasing the renewals for us, or the persistency for us, and also improve the experience in terms of claims overall. So if you look at, for everyone, the offering needs to be personalized. So when we use AI for hyper personalization as well. Depending on the need, what you have, we customize the entire, piece for you across.
Yeah.
So that's where the use of AI is there. But for us, insurance is a continuous dialogue. So I have sold you a policy, I'll not show my face after 1 year. We'll probably send you a lot of things, because from Mayank and from Sneha and from the other members, we need a portfolio. Give now, but have your house, you will need a home insurance, your health insurance, you will need a factory insurance. So I would want to probably look at the entire portfolio. We use AI from pre-sales to post-sales. And from Mayank, you may have given me a motor policy, but I'm more interested in the entire portfolio of Sneha and Mayank. I would want to have a health policy, I want to have a personal accident policy, I want to have a SDO, hospital daily cash policy, or critical illness policy, and a factory insurance from you. So once my motor policy is sold to you, I will not stop my engagement there. I'll use AI to send you nudges, push notifications saying that, hey, Mayank, now you're happy to have, the motor policy, but we also have a health policy. Would you be keen? And once we see some interest, then some human intervention comes in, and we customize and tailor make the solutions for you.
Got it. Thank you, Aviral, on that bit of insight. I think getting AI involved in both pre and post sales is important. Sneha, a question for you that I have is, so many organizations have dozens of AI pilots, but very few have like proper measurable wins, and you have quoted few examples when you had presented earlier. So what separates the pilot that makes it into the P&L, and especially from those that never scale?
Yeah. So, Mayank, you would know that, right? Every time anybody is going to suggest, like, let's do something, right? The first response that you get is, let's do a pilot and see, right? Because somebody is not convinced as to how this is going to turn out. But every pilot promises a lift, right? But very few can survive that without any continuous funding, right? So what actually helped us is, and what I told you in my last example as it, right? That one number that moved, which the number that the finance lives and swears by, is that our KYC to first activation automation, right? It doesn't sound very exciting saying that I'll send personalized nudges across email, WhatsApp, and RCS. These are the channels that I'll use, right? But the proof lies in the pudding, right? It helped me I was able to move that needle from 8% to 24%, right? That activation happened. So that's not a pilot metric. That's actually a revenue metric, which, was wearing the, pilot metric clothes. So the pilots that dies are the ones that cannot optimize a KPI, which is, only marketing and understand, right? Outside of marketing, they don't really know what this KPI means, okay? And hence, if you look at engagement or reach, these are the terms that marketer would swear by. I reach so many people by this campaign or whatever it is. But outside marketing, nobody understands what reach is, right? Nobody understands what engagement is. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there used to be memes on LinkedIn, and which says that engagement, people would think that, oh, you got engaged, you have a ring and all of that. But for a marketer, engagement means that what is the kind of likes or comments or shares that you've got on your posts or your videos or whatever it is, right? So your pilot success metric needs to explain in one line or in a one slide to your CFO. If it doesn't, it's not going to scale.
And what is that one business metric that you will ask your CFO, that you will tell your CFO that this is what you have achieved?
Actually, it's not only one, right, Mayank?
Mm,
No, like I said, so I'm going to follow with that. If
yeah,
I have to tell, right, as a marketer, he would expect that I'll tell my CFO that, I would get so much of engagement or there was so much of reach. But
right.
my CFO or the finance guys, right, when they are working on a P&L, they know only debit and credit, right? So and what I'm selling to them is a vibe. They don't really vibe with that vibe. So I would lead with, I would try to speak to them in their language. First is a blended CAC to
Yeah.
tell that if I'm going to do this activity, this is how my CAC could get reduced. Okay,
Mm,
and while I did that, right, while I also increased my spends by 2.5 times at PayU, we were able to
mm,
reduce the CAC by 30%, right, which is
mm,
exactly opposite of what a media plan actually does. Okay, the
mm,
second is you tell the finance team that this is going to help you improve the funnel conversion, right?
mm,
That will become more efficient. Like I give the example of the KYC to the activation from 8 to 24%. That's a huge number. That is 3 times more merchants going into my funnel and getting activated, right? That is
mm.
that. And the third one is nobody thinks about this a lot, but now thanks to AI, whatever people think, oh no, SEO is dead, but you actually need organic contribution for your brand. That's how everything is going to get balanced out. Otherwise, every time you're just spending money and you're getting a person in, and even Aviral would agree, right? I mean, you spent money and got somebody in, but he's only going to utilize you when that he is ready for that claim. In our case, I spent money, I got the merchant, but if it doesn't get activated, I mean, transacting with us, it doesn't get give me any metrics. So my organic contribution needs to increase so that it's compounding in the background while I still continue to run my paid engine.
Yeah. So, Sneha, we'll take up one question from the audience now. This is from Arvind Ravi. He says, I'm from Asset Plus, one of the largest fully digital wealth tech platform in India. We help mutual fund distributors manage their customers' investment. There are 3 steps: empanelment, activation, and super starter. One of our significant challenge is activation. We have 22,000 plus mutual fund distributor empaneled on our platform, but only about 8,000 active. How can Agentic AI help in improving activation? Any one of you can give insights on this if you want to pick up.
I think there's a lot of scope for agentic AI activation here, right, Arvind, for you guys, because it's not only you are looking at only one failure point, which is they are not activated, but you have to understand that there are multiple steps involved here, and there are multiple failure points that you can have, right?
Mm,
So rather than you only rely on sending out communication like in that copy paste manner that we've been talking about earlier, right? You need to understand that you can actually have a lot of opportunities to deploy an agent, right? So if I were in your case, for every distributor, right, you could build an activation agent to understand where is it getting stuck. So there could be your distributors who are logging in but they're not able to activate, right? You should see if they've completed their KYC. Do they have the client information? Have they been able to generate any transactions, or they have any support interactions with the support team, or any other preferred channel? So what you will understand is that your distributor needs to be educated, right? So you are telling him what it needs to onboard a client. You can share a testimonial or a video explainer, or you can have a callback, right? uh, the other thing that I've realized is, right, a lot of distributors do sign up, but they're not well educated or well trained, right? So it would really help a great deal if you can have an AI agent which kind of becomes a coach for them, right? So they know what to say, they know what to pitch, they know if there are any objections they need to handle. They're all well trained on that, and then that is how they can interact, right? So you need to categorize each distributor and then look at what is this distributor. So it's not a one problem or a one size that fits all. Your every distributor would have different problems, and you need to actually either categorize them or look at them individually, and that's how an agentic AI would really help.
mm. Your IFL and Aditya Birla experience speaks aloud from the answer that you gave. Now, okay, now
Yeah.
coming to the end, guys, we'll have rapid fire for both of you, right? Aviral, we'll start with you. It's quick one-liner answer is what we need. Aviral, the question we have for you: faster claims or smarter claims?
I think smarter claims is better because the smart claims will save money for the company and also will contribute to the customer as well, So I think faster, a smarter claim is better off for people.
Got it. Renewal or acquisition?
I think renewal getting back, for company in my bucket. Why do I, so for all companies, we have this persistency ratio and the renewal ratio.
Okay.
So idea would be to probably go in for existing customer, milk the portfolio, spread the portfolio with him, and then move into the new customer base.
Next one, I think I can answer for you. Human review or AI first? I think you'll say human review.
I think both are equally important to basics. I think, elementary things AI can help, but for a big claim or, running into crores, I think human intervention is required.
Yeah. Last one thing AI shouldn't decide.
AI should not decide on the claims piece that, claim should be repudiated. AI should not, because see, for us customers, sentiment is supremely important. And if we lose a connect in terms of, with the customer, then the entire equation is robotic. So I think in customer trauma, torture and turmoil, they have a claim, somebody is expired in the family or had an accident. So there I think a human hand or, a shoulder, you need to give it across to the customer to hear them out. And I think AI can't do that.
Yeah. Got it. Sneha, moving to you, one marketing metric every B2C CMO should obsess over. I know B2B is what PayU does, but you have a B2C experience, so that's why I'm asking.
Absolutely. I think it has to be the activation rate, right? If your end step or the bottom line of the funnel doesn't improve or change, then it's just expensive, right? I mean, I am called the most expensive lady on the floor because saying that she spends a lot of money. So that's how it will turn out to become. So yeah, you need to have activation.
Okay. One AI myth you wish would disappear?
That it's going to replace marketers. See, you can replace people, because people come with judgment and they know. So at a recent event, I was speaking with Nishant from Netcore, and he was saying dashboards, right? I said, as Netcore, you guys have done a fabulous job at creating dashboards, right? But dashboards only displaying it is what it is, right? I'm the one who's asking the question what, why, and what will come next. So you still need that marketer.
I wish we have few HR folks on the call today, if they could hear you. All right, scale or precision?
Being a perfectionist, I look for precision in everything, right? Scaling without precision means you're just, again, proving people that you're more expensive and, it's not yielding any results. So scale with precision.
Product managers at Netcore, please hear this. Build or buy AI? This is interesting.
I would say buy the engine, and then you build the judgment that only you can get, and that no other AI agent can do, right? So you still have the AI and you still have your own job.
Nice. All right. With that, we come to the end of our webinar today. Just with that, one last piece. I just wanted to show you all about the current stack that we have at Netcore and how do we scale with that. I hope you all can see my screen. We have been able to do this at scale for a lot of our brands, primarily because we have this different layers, which of course understand context, which becomes the crust of how the data gets coming to Netcore's platform. With that, we've got proper decisioning. Once the data comes in, there are a lot of decisioning with a lot of these agents that I showed you examples today. But there are a lot of these predictions we also have, which are set up based on certain brand guardrails. And human in loop are very important. We definitely work very closely with our customers, having specific growth engineers for different industries. And finally, activation that happens through the channels which is owned by us. And that's what we believe is 10x marketeer from the Netcore side. We have done this at scale, not just with Shriram General Insurance, with PayU, but Bajaj Markets. Now we are just, a couple of more cases that we are talking about. But we would be happy to have a chat with you all. You guys can connect with us on our website, drop in a message to the two interesting folks we had today as our co-panelists, and they would be happy to answer a lot of your industry-led challenges. These guys are keeping busy, but I hope they don't have a agent to respond to you all, and they will have themselves as human in loop to respond to your interesting queries. With that, we come to our end, come to the end of our webinar today. Thank you so much, all of us. Thank you so much to all the audience who have been patient enough to be there till the end. And Sneha, Aviral, interesting insights. I'll stay in touch with you guys, and I think we'll keep our chat over coffee or maybe drinks. I don't know. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, joining today's webinar.